Hello AP Lit students, and welcome to your Friday lesson for AP Literature. It's Miss O'Connor and Miss O'Connor's assistant professor today, Andromeda, up there in the corner. You want to say hi? No? Today's lesson is a quick refresher on how to break down AP Literature test prompts and how to break them into identifying the tasks and finding the keywords that you need to remember so that you can create a high-quality thesis and a high-quality essay. On the test itself, the AP test, you're going to be writing one essay from a prose passage. The cool thing about the test is that they've said they're going to be using what they call stable word prompts. Stable word prompts are going to use the same format every time. So this method of breaking down prompts to identify the tasks and the information that you need is always going to be accurate. So with that said, we're going to jump right into it. This prompt here has been modified to fit repent Harlequin, said the TikTok man. Sorry. But it's been formatted exactly like an AP prompt. So I'm going to read it out loud with you. Read carefully the following passage from Repent Harlequin, said the TikTok man, by Harlan Ellison. This story introduces the Harlequin as a character that disrupts a rigid society organized around time. Write an essay in which you analyze how the author's use of literary techniques generates a vivid impression of the Harlequin as a character. So there's 3 sentences in this prompt, and each sentence is doing something important. The first sentence, the one here, is telling us the author and the place that it comes from. The next sentence is what we call the context sentence. This is going to be something that exists on the test as well, but it's a sentence in the prompt that tells you what's happening in the prose passage. It helps you out because it gives you a little bit of understanding so that you know what the situation is before you start reading. However, it's really important that you remember that this is given to you in the prompt, which means it's taken as fact. It can't be the basis of your interpretation or your argument or the opinion that you have about the passage. That has to be something that is an opinion that is not the fact from the prompt. So it's important to remember that. And then the most important sentence to us is the last one, where it tells you where it starts giving you like the orders, the verbs on what you're supposed to do. Write an essay, analyze the author's use of literary techniques, generating a vivid impression of the Harlequin as a character. Writing the essay is the given. So the next task is analyze the author's use of literary techniques, and then how those techniques generate a vivid impression of the Harlequin as a character. So most prompts, especially Q2 prompts, will have 2 tasks for you. And in my class, we call it the big question and the little question. The little question is the one that you can pull from the text and you can use facts to answer. It's asking you for something that's like black or white or in the words. So when it says the use of literary techniques, that's the little question. I'm going to write it down below here. And so then that means the other question is the big question. The big question is always something that asks you for an opinion or an interpretation. At the core, an AP literature essay is an argument where you are stating what you think is happening in the passage and then you defend what you think is happening. This big question is the thing that you are going to defend. So this is asking you, what impression of the Harlequin? Cool. So you have your 2 tasks. I've pulled a paragraph from the actual story, and I'm going to leave it up here on the page for you to have a quick second to read it. I've already gone through and highlighted the devices, so you can pause me and read it at your own pace, please, I encourage you. But in the effort of keeping this video short, I'm just going to point out what I think is important here. I see there's some imagery or metaphor even happening here. And I can see that there's a simile happening down here. There's these contrasts. He's laughing and apologizing. They're bowing and posturing while being solemn. So there's like some contrast or perhaps even irony. And then, of course, these words here, like of course and naturally, and then the authorities get caught anyway, they also seem very ironic to me. So literary techniques that the author uses, he uses irony, he uses similes, he uses imagery. But the truth is that you could have highlighted anything in this passage and you could have argued that any of them were literary devices, that it was third person point of view is a device, that there's repetition with there's laughing and laughing and laughing 3 times. There's this bit about frightening and unnerving the authorities. You can take whatever you want, diction, point of view, to be your literary technique. What matters is through my choice of technique, what do I think of the Harlequin? I think he's harmless. I think he's funny. Do you see? Your job for your independent practice here is to break down a prompt yourself. And prompt's up on the screen. So you are going to do exactly what I did. There's no passage for this one. You just read it. You find the big question and the little question. You guys are going to do an awesome job. Stay safe, wash your hands, and if you have any questions about this at all, please shoot me a message.